Chapter 2289, Consecutive Breakthroughs. 2. Lei Yan felt like he had just witnessed a miracle. This person had just achieved the Divine Lord level. How did he manage to break through again? Before Lei Yan could recover his senses, a booming noise rang out again. The golden light beam lit up the entire region, making it look like daytime. Lei Yan was dumbstruck. He gaped as he stared at the golden light outside the window. Again. Another breakthrough? This was the Divine Lord's second heaven level. Damn, what kind of powerful freak is this? Beyond the Divine Lord stage, it was already very difficult to ascend one heaven level. Even rising from the initial to the middle, and then to the late stage within a single heaven level was challenging enough. But this person's ascension across the levels was astonishing. It was like he was on enhancement drugs. 3 consecutive breakthroughs in the blink of an eye. How did this person do it? The world was full of wonders. Lei Yan and the rest were not the only ones in the city who noticed this phenomenon. Many practitioners were startled awake and they stared at the golden light beams, which were growing increasingly brighter. This meant that this person was undergoing consecutive breakthroughs. All the practitioners in the city were utterly shocked by this discovery. Was it that easy to ascend to the Divine Lord stage? Where did this freak come from? The practitioners were all very curious. They wanted to venture toward the golden light to take a look. But in the end, they held back their curiosity. A practitioner who could undergo breakthroughs in this manner, how fearsome must he be? Who knew what kind of person he was? What if he was angered and went on a killing spree? They would be in a tight spot then. With the golden light as the focal point, all the practitioners in the region personally witnessed a once-in-lifetime breakthrough spectacle. Watching those golden light beams appearing one after another, countless people were dazed by the sight. Enchanting, who was the cause of this spectacle, was completely unaware of the furor she had created. She was filled with shock as she felt her own power surge continuously. She thought that she would only be able to break through to the Divine Lord first heaven level. But reality had her completely dumbfounded. By the time the final bout of energy was released, Enchanting's cultivation level had ascended several times. She was now at the Divine Lord 5th heaven level. Beyond the Divine Lord 5th heaven level was an entirely different world. After unleashing all her stored energy, Enchanting's cultivation stage was eventually stabilized at the Divine Lord 5th heaven level initial stage. But this had already far surpassed Enchanting's expectations. That secret room is so formidable. Enchanting could feel the immense energy gradually merging into her body. Breaking through consecutively was an intoxicating experience. Having observed Qin Feng and the rest for some time, she saw that they had different innate talents but were more or less at similar cultivation levels. After cultivating in the secret room for some time, the difference in their cultivation levels had not widened. But the disparity between Enchanting and them was now as wide as the ocean. Enchanting had pretty good innate talent, but not that great as to have produced such a wide disparity. She could only come up with one explanation: mental energy. Having been reborn, her mental energy far surpassed that of her peers. The array formation's energy was likely linked to mental energy. The stronger one's mental energy was, the more one could absorb. At this thought, Enchanting felt somewhat comforted. Quietly masking her powers, she then flew back to the city. Chapter 2290, Consecutive Breakthroughs 3. It was the middle of the night, and people in the city should have been sleeping. But when Enchanting flew back to the city, she realized that quite a number of people were gathered at the city gates. Luckily, it was dark enough, and Enchanting was high up in the air. As a result, no one noticed her. Enchanting returned to her room, all prepared to have a good rest and acclimatize to her new cultivation stage. But at this moment, there was a knock on her door.
Boss. Boss.
Lei Yan's voice rang out. Enchanting opened her door and saw Lei Yan and the rest standing in a row outside her room. Boss, you saw it too, right? Right. Lei Yan stared at Enchanting excitedly. Enchanting was puzzled. Saw what? Lei Yan and the rest were stunned. Some powerful practitioner underwent a breakthrough. Boss, you didn't see it? You must have been sleeping too soundly. Someone underwent a breakthrough somewhere outside the city just now. And that fellow is a complete freak. We already felt that we had risen very fast when we cultivated in the secret room earlier. But this fellow is even more formidable. Guess how many times he broke through? Enchanting. 5 times. 5 whole times. And at the Divine Lord stage. Lei Yan spoke excitedly. Enchanting looked placidly at Lei Yan. 5 times? No, it was 9 times. However, those breakthroughs before the Divine Lord stage were quieter and did not wake up anyone. It's just a breakthrough. Go back and sleep. Enchanting spoke impassively. As those brats looked on in bewilderment, she closed her bedroom door. Shut outside, Lei Yan and the rest were dumbfounded. Their boss reaction was just like that. But how else could Enchanting react? She had been worried about creating a scene after unleashing her stored energy and improving her cultivation stage. It was nothing shocking to have a breakthrough, but consecutive breakthroughs within a short period of time was mind-blowing. The cultivation method of suppressing one's cultivation level had not yet been invented. Enchanting did not wish to be seen as a freak by others, but she had not expected to transcend so many levels at one go either. As much as she had wanted to maintain a low profile, now, she had astonished an entire city of practitioners. Enchanting's only piece of luck was that no one knew she was the one who had undergone all those breakthroughs. The next morning, Enchanting emerged from her room and saw Lei Yan and the rest already downstairs and gathered with a group of other diners. It was still early morning, but the dining hall was already filled with people. And all of them were energetic martial art practitioners. At this moment, they were all gathered in what looked like a passionate discussion. Did you all see what happened last night? Of course we did, who didn't? Calm down. Do you think it was really just one person who made so many breakthroughs yesterday? Could it be a bunch of practitioners gathered together and who just happened to break through at the same time? How in the world can there be so many coincidences? Not only were the timings so close to each other, but each breakthrough was also higher than the previous one. How can there be so many coincidences in life? I think someone must have gotten some secret artifact. Otherwise, how can a normal person have so many breakthroughs over such a short period of time? Did you guys hear the news? What news? I heard that not long ago, the Temple of Paragon issued a notice that they wanted to get the Fiend Celestial's eye from the tomb. The various factions have been surging into the Fiend Celestial's tomb over this period. Do you think the person from last night got some precious artifact from the tomb and so managed to attain such miraculous breakthroughs? Chapter 2291, Returning to the Academy, 1. At the mention of the Fiend Celestial's tomb, several people believed it was possible. After all, apart from the treasures left behind by the Fiend Celestial, where else on earth could there be such a wondrous artifact? Something which could allow someone to break through so many times over such a short period of time. The crowd was having a heated discussion, all on the topic of last night's phenomenon. All the while, Lei Yan and the rest were listening attentively. Enchanting rapped those brats on the head, indicating that it was time for them to leave. Even after leaving the city, those teenagers were still deeply curious about last night's incident. Boss, say, do you think that person really came out from the Fiend Celestial's tomb? And he really got a treasure? Lei Yan had personally experienced the tomb and had his cultivation level rapidly advance in that secret room. He naturally believed it was entirely possible. Enchanting glanced at him. She could not even be bothered to reply to him. If I had known the treasures inside were so formidable, I might have just gritted my teeth and taken one. Before Lei Yan could complete his sentence, Enchanting smacked the back of his head. Squash that thought if you don't wish to die. Take something from the Fiend Celestial's tomb? If Enchanting had not been lucky and accidentally stumbled into that secret room, she would have perished inside even if she had 100 lives to spare. That black snake that could kill an Emperor-level practitioner in seconds was not something which any normal person could handle. Enchanting also felt rather curious. In her previous life, she had not heard about the black snake inside the tomb. How did those people manage to empty the tomb back then? Where did the black snake go? Regardless of the questions circling in her mind, no one would be able to solve this puzzle now. I was just making a casual remark. How can I possibly be that brave? Lei Yan spoke sheepishly. He had an overactive tongue and often spoke without thinking. If he was to really go and do it, he wouldn't have the guts. Nangong Lai and the rest stifled the urge to laugh at the sight of Lei Yan being smacked. Just as Lei Yan was about to say something, Qin Feng quietly shot him a look. Confused, Lei Yan was about to retort again, but Qin Feng's eyes were full of threat, immediately shutting him up. The others were more restrained. Apart from that brainless Lei Yan, none of them would dare mention the tomb in front of Yi Qing, because they had already noticed that although the cultivation in the secret had greatly increased all their powers, someone's cultivation level had remained the same, and that someone was Yi Qing. It was a good thing for one's powers to increase. But the rest of them were very considerate and didn't make necessary remarks in front of Yi Qing. Everyone wished to improve their cultivation level, but for some reason, Yi Qing did not experience any progress. Anyone in that situation would feel upset. They were worried that Yi Qing was upset over this matter, and so kept their mouths shut. Boss, are we returning now? Yun Chen tactfully changed the topic. Yi Qingtang nodded. The selection for the Inter-Academy competition should be starting soon. Let's hurry back to the academy before that. Strange expressions crossed the faces of the teenagers at Yi Qing's words. They had never dreamed of being candidates for the Inter-Academy competition. After all, their initial powers were among the weakest in the school. There was no way they would dare to dream about the Inter-Academy competition. But now, things were different. Hot blood raced in their veins as a measure of confidence bloomed in the hearts of those teenagers. Boss, don't worry. We will definitely not let you down this time. Just wait and see. Nangong Lai patted his own chest with gusto. Chapter 2292, Returning to the Academy. 2. The teenagers sped back to the Netherworld Academy with their emboldened ambitions. After arriving at the academy, they didn't notice anything strange. They just hung on to Yi Qing, chattering the entire way. In their excitement, they didn't notice that their appearance had captured the attention of several Netherworld Academy people. Boss, we'll head back to rest first. We'll come and find you tomorrow morning. It had been a long journey, and they needed to rest. After bidding farewell to Yi Qing, they returned to their own lodgings. Similarly, Yi Qingtang went back to her room and washed up, changing out of her dusty clothes. At this moment, there was a loud knock on her door. Yi Qing.
Come out.
Di Nua's voice rang out. Yi Qingtang had never got along with Di Nua and thought he was here to make trouble. Putting on her coat, she opened the door. However, Di Nua was not the only one outside. Several wardens were gathered behind Di Nua, and they were all dressed in the same uniform. They were from the discipline hall. Teacher Di Nua, what is the meaning of this? Yi Qingtang asked when she saw the stern expression on Di Nua's face. Yi Qing, you fled after committing a crime, and even lured Lei Yan and the other students to go out and create trouble. Confess your wrongdoings. Di Nua glared at Yi Qing with a cold eye. It hadn't been too long since Yi Qingtang's return to the Netherworld Academy, and someone already informed Di Nua of her return. He had rushed over with several wardens from the discipline hall, ready to arrest Yi Qingtang. Flee after committing a crime? What crime have I committed? Why would I need to flee? Yi Qingtang asked calmly. Have you forgotten about Zhang Qiqiu?
Di Nua asked.
Yi Qingtang looked at Di Nua and said in a cold voice, Teacher Di Nua, Zhang Qiqiu's bloodline should have already recovered. Do you not find it rather ridiculous to still be trying to blame me for that? Di Nua was stunned. How did you know? Zhang Qiqiu's bloodline had indeed recovered over a month ago. But Yi Qingtang had left the Netherworld Academy much earlier. How did she know? I was the one who gave him the elixir, so of course I know, Yi Qingtang answered. Di Nua narrowed his eyes. So, what if his bloodline had recovered? The academy had yet to revoke your punishment when you brought those students out without telling anyone. How do you explain that? Netherworld Academy teachers are allowed to bring students out for external training. Dinua only laughed at her words. That's right. Netherworld Academy teachers can do so. But you cannot. The vice president allowed you to enter the academy, but you are not an official teacher here. You don't have that right. You flouted the school rules again, and the Netherworld Academy would never retain such an immoral influence like you. You are to leave the Netherworld Academy immediately. You are never to step inside this place ever again. It came as no surprise that Dinua didn't like Yiqing. To him, having such a teacher in the Netherworld Academy was just a blemish on their reputation. The vice president has already given me full authority to handle your matter. Yiqing, you have no right to stand on Netherworld Academy grounds. Scram and get out immediately. Do not tarnish our clean grounds with your atrocities. Yiqing gazed impassively at the malicious expression on Dinua's face. You don't have the final say over whether I have the right. Dinua's face darkened. Yiqing, don't make me use force. Chapter 2293. Returning to the Academy, 3. Just as Dinua was planning to have the discipline hall wardens throw this piece of trash out of the Netherworld Academy, teacher Luo Sheng hurried over. Dinua, hold on, Luo Sheng called out. Luo Sheng? What are you doing here? The vice president gave me full authority to handle Yiqing's case. I am about to throw him out of the Netherworld Academy. Dinua frowned. Luo Sheng glanced at Yiqing before continuing. The vice president knows that Yiqing is back and he wants to see him. Dinua's face darkened. He could not understand. Yiqing was merely a Paragon level 6th heaven level piece of trash. He was only good at talking. Why was the vice president so benevolent toward him? Don't tell me the vice president wants to let him off. Luo Sheng replied, the vice president just said for you to bring him over. If there is anything else, you can ask him to explain in person. Dinua's face looked increasingly grim. He shot Yiqing a cold look before giving a contemptuous snort. Never mind. I want to see how the vice president will handle Yiqing's wrongdoings. Luo Sheng's own face darkened at Dinua's words. But he was an even-tempered fellow, and didn't say anything. Yiqing, come with me to see the vice president. Luo Sheng looked at Yiqing. In response, Yiqing nodded. Luo Sheng led Yiqing away, and Dinua followed. Inside the vice president's room, Wenqi was sitting behind the study table. At the sight of Luo Sheng leading Yiqing and Dinua over, his face remained rather impassive. Vice President. Yiqing nodded at Wenqi. Disregarding everything else, Yiqing had a pretty good impression of Wenqi. He was not as narrow-minded as Dinua and knew how to be flexible. He was also willing to research the evolution of martial arts. Yiqing had always respected practitioners like that. Wenqi looked at Yiqing, and a sliver of regret rose in his eyes. Yiqing, why did you take the students out of the academy? Wenqi asked. I brought them out to train. Yiqing replied honestly. Dinua gave a cold smile on hearing Yiqing's words. Bring them out to train? You? Before Yiqing could say anything, Dinua turned toward Wenqi. Vice President, let's put aside the fact that Yiqing is not an official teacher of the Netherworld Academy. Even if he was, with his powers, he is not qualified to bring students out for training. With his mediocre cultivation level, there is no way he can protect the students should they meet with danger outside. He would even become a burden. Yes, the teachers of the Netherworld Academy could bring students out for training, but they had to possess a certain level of skill. Academies were different from sections. When training outside, they would do their best to ensure the safety of their students. They would not expose them to any life-threatening dangers. Any teacher who wished to bring students out for training had to be of a certain level. And, apart from the medicine faculty, all the Netherworld Academy teachers were powerful enough. And so everyone paid little attention to this point. But Yiqing's powers were completely inadequate. He is overly arrogant and does not know his place. In bringing his students out for training, he is treating their lives like a game. Vice President, going by skill level or character, this person is not fit to be a teacher at the Netherworld Academy. I hope Vice President will think carefully for the sake of our academy. Di Nua's every word was dripping with venom towards Yi Qing. Chapter 2294. A Gamble 1. When Qi frowned slightly. In the eyes of the Netherworld Academy, Yi Qing's actions were indeed not appropriate. But when Qi thought about the youth's deep understanding of martial arts and found it a right pity. Yi Qing, do you understand where you have gone wrong? When Qi sighed. No. Di Nua's face completely darkened at Yi Qing's unrepentant words. No? Then let me tell you. A piece of trash like you has no right to lead students. The vice president was just too kind to have placed you inside our academy. You became so arrogant that you took such a major risk with the lives of your students. Before Di Nua could finish his words, Yi Qing shot him a cold look. His face was devoid of expression, but somehow, Di Nua was completely stunned by that look. No, right? Yi Qing stared coldly at Di Nua before turning toward Wen Qi. Vice President, let me ask you first. What is the reason for the Netherworld Academy to bring students out for training? Wen Qi replied, to let students gain experience of the outside world, to polish their skills and advance their powers. Yi Qing nodded. So, if one can achieve the same results, what should it matter what kind of teacher brings them out? Wen Qi was slightly taken aback. A bark of laughter ripped out of Di Nua's lips, and his next words were full of mockery. Yi Qing, you still have no idea where you went wrong? So, what if you managed to bring them back safely? Going out for training is not like going on a sightseeing tour. You brought them out for over 2 months. Students enroll in the academy to become stronger and not to mess around like you. You brought them out for a jaunt for over 2 months. Do you know how much this will delay their progress? Without giving Yi Qing a chance to respond, Di Nua turned to Wen Qi. Vice President, Lei Yan and the others are safe, but we cannot just let Yi Qing off because of that. Using training as an excuse, he lured those students out to fool around. This is a blemish on the reputation of the Netherworld Academy. Di Nua knew that Lei Yan and the others were safe. The moment news of Yi Qing's return reached his ears, he already knew Mu Ziying and her group had also returned in one piece with Yi Qing. But so what? Every single student brought out for external training by the academy had always returned with improved skills. Yi Qing, you said that all is fine as long as the results are the same. You are oversimplifying things. Vice President also said that external training is to increase the power of the students. And did you manage to achieve that? Di Nua smirked. He did not believe that a piece of trash like Yi Qing was able to take his students to a place good enough to train, let alone guide and protect them. It was probably just a slightly dangerous place. A person like Yi Qing would not dare to enter otherwise. He probably just found a place with peaceful mountains and clear rivers and messed around there for 2 months. It was clear Di Nua had no intention of letting Yi Qing off. Accusation upon accusation was forced on his head. Meanwhile, Yi Qing stared coldly at the blustering Di Nua. Without emotion, he spoke up calmly. So, according to what teacher Di Nua just said, if Lei Yan and the rest improved over these 2 months, then the matter of me bringing them out for training will be considered settled? Di Nua smirked. If you have that capability, then things will naturally be settled. Yi Qing was just a Paragon 6th heaven level. How much could Lei Yan and the rest improve in just mere 2 months? Di Nua completely disregarded the fool's words. Chapter 2295. A Gamble 2. If it were other students, there might be a small possibility. But what kind of students were under Yi Qing? They were all problem students from the bottom pile of the various faculties. If not for Yi Qing's appearance, the academy would have already kicked them out a month ago. Those people had been in the Netherworld Academy for several years, but showed no progress at all. It was near impossible for them to have improved in 2 months. With a piece of trash like Yi Qing and those equally useless students, what sort of results could they hope to achieve? Yi Qing replied, Teacher Di Nua, is it you that has the final say here? Di Nua's face stiffened before he spoke directly to the Vice President. Vice President, I am not trying to make things especially difficult for Yi Qing. I am just looking out for the interest of the Netherworld Academy. If Yi Qing is that capable and was able to improve the skills of Lei Yan and the others, even if it was by just a single heaven level, I will acknowledge that he has the right to be a teacher here. I wonder what the vice president thinks regarding this? Wen Qi had always held Yi Qing in high regard, but it was true that Yi Qing had indeed flouted the academy rules this time. And now, Wen Qi felt that Yi Qing was taking too big of a gamble. As the vice president, he naturally knew what Lei Yan and the other students were like. Even if a proper Netherworld Academy teacher spent half a year on those kids, it was impossible to raise any one of their cultivation levels. And there was Qin Feng, who was the most problematic of them all. Wen Qi glanced at Yi Qing with regret. He knew this would be a complete setback for Yi Qing. Someone who is able to improve the cultivation level of a student in just over 2 months, such a person would definitely have the right to become an official Netherworld Academy teacher and to lead students out for external training. Yi Qing, did you hear that? Di Nua sneered at Yi Qing. Yi Qing nodded again. In fact, she was just waiting for Wen Qi to say that. In that case, I will have someone summon Lei Yan and the rest, Di Nua spoke up. He wanted to get rid of Yi Qing as soon as possible. But Yi Qing suddenly cut in. No need to be so anxious.
What?
Yi Qing, are you regretting it now? Di Nua narrowed his eyes. Yi Qing ignored Di Nua but only looked at Wen Qi. Vice President, is the selection for the Inter-Academy competition about to begin? Wen Qi was taken aback. He had no idea why Yi Qing was suddenly talking about the Inter-Academy competition. It will begin in 3 days. Yi Qing nodded before slowly turning to Di Nua. Teacher Di Nua, you feel that I have no right to bring them out for training, so why don't we have a bet? Di Nua's brows furrowed slightly. Yi Qing, what are you trying to do now? Yi Qing continued, there are still 3 days until the selection of candidates for the Inter-Academy competition. Since you want to see if they have improved, wouldn't it be best to test them in real battles? It would be a more realistic test. So, let me make a bet with you. My 6 students will all represent the Netherworld Academy in the Inter-Academy competition.
How about that?
What? Everyone was dumbstruck by Yi Qing's audacity. Even Luo Sheng, who had remained silent the entire time, was utterly shocked. All of her 6 students would be able to represent the Netherworld Academy in the Inter-Academy competition? Had Yi Qing gone mad? Did he know what he was saying? All of those who represented the Netherworld Academy in the competition were elite students at the very top of the rankings. No teacher in the Netherworld Academy would dare to claim that they could produce not only 1, but 6 representatives. Chapter 2296, A Gamble, 3. Even the arrogant Di Nua did not have such confidence. To think that Yi Qing dared to make such a claim. And in front of Wen Qi. Yi Qing, are you just trying to delay? Di Nua did not believe that Yi Qing was really trying to make this bet. He was just trying to delay the inevitable by a few days.
What?
Teacher Di Nua does not dare to take on this bet with me? Yi Qing glanced at him from the corner of her eye. Di Nua's face darkened. How do you want this bet to go? If any one of them fails to qualify for the Inter-Academy competition, I will immediately leave the Netherworld Academy, never to step foot inside here ever again.
Di Nua laughed.
Yi Qing, your bet is meaningless. You already have to leave if Lei Yan and the rest show no improvement. Yi Qing continued. On top of that, I will kick Qin Feng and the rest out of the Netherworld Academy before I leave. Everyone was bewildered by Yi Qing's words. The Academy had already planned to kick Qin Feng and the others out of the Academy. But they had just postponed the act. One reason was because of Yi Qing's arrival, and the other was because of the family backgrounds of some of them. Jing Zhe was a commoner, and the Qin family was already in decline. But the Leitang family would probably kick up a big fuss. This was one of the reasons why the Academy kept on pushing back the act of kicking them out. But if Yi Qing carried out this dirty deed for them, the family clans would direct their anger toward him alone. And soon after, Yi Qing would be kicked out of the Netherworld Academy. There was no way the family clans could hold the Netherworld Academy responsible. The Netherworld Academy was not afraid of those family clans. It was just that they did not want to stir up unnecessary trouble. Not enough, still not enough. Dino narrowed his eyes as a venomous light flashed across his eyes. Then what does Teacher Dinua propose? Yi Qing asked. Dinua said, if you lose, you need to fulfill the first 2 things you mentioned. Apart from that, I want you to crawl out of the Netherworld Academy in front of everyone. This is to show the world that not just anyone can enter our academy. Wen Qi and Luo Sheng both frowned at Dinua's suggestion, but Yi Qing immediately agreed. Dinua looked at Yi Qing Tang with a smug expression. He turned to Wen Qi. Vice President, please bear witness. In case someone decides to go back on his word after losing, can I also borrow a pen and a piece of paper, please? Wen Qi shot Yi Qing a conflicted look before nodding. Almost immediately, Dinua wrote out 2 copies of the betting terms. He waited for Yi Qing to add his thumbprint. Hold on. Yi Qing Tang looked at Dinua, who was just desperate to drag her down into the mud.
What?
Yi Qing, are you regretting things now?
Dinua asked.
Yi Qing shook his head. Of course not. But we have yet to conclude all the terms of the bet between you and me. Dinua frowned slightly. Earlier, Yi Qing had just talked about what would happen if he lost. He had not mentioned what would happen if he won, and Dinua had already eagerly agreed. In his opinion, there was no way Yi Qing would win. Go on. What would happen if you win? Dinua asked impatiently. I don't have any special request. If I win, I will just do unto Teacher Dinua what you want from me. You will crawl out of the Netherworld Academy in front of everyone. Dinua's face instantly darkened. Yi Qing, how dare you want to try and degrade me like this? Yi Qing looked calmly at Dinua. Degrade? But Teacher Dinua, you are the one who made this suggestion.
Why?
I have the guts to undertake this risk, but Teacher Dinua, are you afraid? Chapter 2297, A Gamble, 4. Dinua's expression shifted again. He did not expect Yi Qing to put up such a desperate fight. But thinking of the bet again, Dinua relaxed. There was no need for him to haggle with such a useless person. Right from the start, Yi Qing was destined to lose this bet. All right, I agree. Dinua put on a show of nodding graciously. He added the terms to the contract and both parties gave their thumbprints. They also left their mental imprint on each contract before keeping their own copies. Vice President and Teacher Luo Sheng are both witnesses to this bet. I will have peace of mind then. Farewell. Dinua shot Yi Qing a chilly look before hurrying away. Yes, he would give him 3 more days to struggle. After that, when the inter-academy competition selection began, he would have him crawl like a dog out of the Netherworld Academy in front of everyone. After Dinua left, Yi Qing Tang also prepared to leave. Wen Qi glanced at Yi Qing as if he wanted to say something. But in the end, he remained silent. Yi Qing, let's walk out together. Luo Sheng spoke up after noticing Wen Qi's expression. Yi Qing Tang nodded. After the 2 of them left the vice president's lodgings, Luo Sheng couldn't resist a sigh. Yi Qing, you acted too rashly this time. Yi Qing Tang looked at Luo Sheng's exasperated expression. She remained silent. Luo Sheng continued. The vice president already had plans regarding today's matter. You did flout the academy rules, but we thought that as long as you admitted that you were in the wrong, even if you can no longer become a proper teacher here, you would not have to leave. Yi Qing Tang was somewhat surprised by Luo Sheng's words. Luo Sheng patted Yi Qing Tang on the shoulder. Similar to the vice president, he had high regard for Yi Qing's deep understanding of martial arts. While he might not be suitable to become a teacher, he was still a talent. After you admitted your mistake, the vice president planned to remove your status as a teacher. But even so, you could have continued to stay on in the academy as a warden. The vice president had everything all planned out nicely. He would keep you by his side to research martial arts.
But you'd sigh.
Luo Sheng couldn't resist sighing again. It could be said that Wen Qi truly admired Yi Qing's abilities. Otherwise, he would not have come up with such a comprehensive plan for him. But no one expected things to turn out this way. Wen Qi still had the president to answer to, so he could not go against academy regulations and pretend nothing happened. But he had already come up with a lifeline for Yi Qing. But in the end, Yi Qing made such a bet with Di Noa. Even if Wen Qi wanted to keep him, it was impossible. Teacher Luo Sheng, please help me thank the vice president. I appreciate his kind intentions, Yi Qingtang said. Yi Qingtang respected Wen Qi a lot. But his plans for her were not what she desired. You punk. You are still young but already so stubborn, Sai. Never mind, the die is cast. You still have 3 days, you should make the necessary preparations. Luo Sheng shook his head with another sigh. He was not asking Yi Qing to prepare for the inter-academy competition. After all, the terms of Yi Qing's bet were just too ridiculous. He had 6 students under him, and all of them had to be selected for the inter-academy competition. This was just one big joke. What he had to prepare for now was how to handle the humiliation he would be forced to endure in 3 days. Also, how to explain to Lei Yan and the others that they would be kicked out of the Netherworld Academy. Chapter 2298, Selection Trials 1. Of course, Yi Qingtang understood Luo Sheng's meaning. But she also knew that Luo Sheng had kind intentions, and so she did not say anything more. Even if she tried to explain now, Luo Sheng would probably not believe her. It was better to wait for everything to be revealed on the day itself. Yi Qingtang had her own motive for coming to the Netherworld Academy. Apart from that, she was not interested in meddling in the affairs of others. But this did not mean that she would let someone bully her. There were still 3 days until the selection trials. Yi Qingtang was not anxious. With the current cultivation levels of Lei Yan and the others, she was well aware that they just had to acclimatize to their new powers. As for the rest, Yi Qingtang would let them handle things themselves. So, Yi Qingtang did not mention the bet to them. In those 3 days, those brats spent the entire first day sleeping. They finally reported to Yi Qingtang on the second day to ask some questions on martial arts. After receiving Yi Qingtang's advice and teachings, they went about their own ways to practice. 3 days passed by just like that. The inter-academy competition selection trials officially began. This selection trial was very important to everyone in the Netherworld Academy. After all, the Netherworld Academy was a top academy. They had sent many elite talented teenagers to the inter-academy competition in the past, especially that medicine faculty genius. The emergence of the Grand Master level alchemist had brought the Netherworld Academy to the top of the academy rankings. But over the past several decades, the Netherworld Academy had suffered multiple setbacks. They achieved very few satisfactory results. So this time, the Netherworld Academy was paying special attention to the selection trials. There were 2 ways to join the selection. One was for a teacher to recommend his best students. The other was for the student to sign up themselves. The inter-academy competition was extremely prestigious. If one could stand out in that competition, not only would they bring glory to the academy, they would pave a great future for themselves. All the teenagers from the various academies had the desire to compete. On the morning of the selection trials, students from the various faculties gathered at the arena. It's finally the day of the selection. I prayed for this day to come sooner. Do you know that our teachers have been like crazed maniacs because of this day? Training over the past few months has been intense. My body is nearly wrecked from all that strain. Only a few dozen people would be able to represent the Netherworld Academy in the inter-academy competition. But there were tens of thousands of students in the Netherworld Academy. It would be really difficult to be one of the few selected from such vast numbers. I have no idea what those teachers are thinking. Why not just train the top 50 students? This inter-academy competition has nothing to do with me. Everyone knew their place. They knew that they would never be able to compete with the top students in the academy. They just served as training partners. In the past inter-academy competitions, the Netherworld Academy would choose the top students recommended by the teachers. If there was more than the required number, they would have the students battle it out. If other students believed they were good enough, they could also challenge the top 50. From then the winner would be selected. The loser would get lost. It was simple and brutal, but it was the truth. I say, have you seen Lei Yan over the past few days? The Leitang family youths surveyed the area as if looking for Lei Yan. Chapter 2299, Selection Trials, 2. Heaven knows where he has been recently. I don't think I've seen him in 3 months. Since he had that new teacher, he's been absent for entire days. Did you know that when I went to find him a few months ago, he told me not to disturb his cultivation? I nearly died laughing. One of the Latang family youths grinned. I think this is a good thing. Now that he's absorbed in his own world, he seldom stirs trouble in the academy. Otherwise, we would have to keep cleaning up his mess. You're right. If not for the clan master's instructions, with his lousy skills and antagonistic character, he would have been beaten to death already. The Latang family youths couldn't help smirking as they talked about Lei Yan. Although they came from the same clan, they looked down on Lei Yan's mediocre talents and bullying manner. The only reason they protected him was because they were instructed to do so by the clan master and because of Lei Yan's status as the clan's young master. I heard that the elders are questioning the clan master's favoritism toward Lei Yan. If Lei Yan is kicked out of the Netherworld Academy, the clan master will no longer have any excuses. That's right. It's fine that the clan master favors Lei Yan and invests so much of the family resources to groom that useless boy. It's fine if Lei Yan tries his best and shows some results, but we all know what kind of guy he is. If the Latang family lands in his hands, we will only be following in the footsteps of the Qin family. Oh yes, didn't we hear that the academy was supposed to kick him out? Why hasn't there been any news since? Who knows? Perhaps the inter-academy competition selection trials are taking precedence, and this matter has been pushed to the side for the time being. I think the academy might be having second thoughts about kicking him out. The youths chatted when a voice suddenly rang out beside them. Having second thoughts about kicking him out? Is he fit to be in the Netherworld Academy? Lei Yan would only be able to stay on in the academy until after the selection trials. Thereafter, he will definitely be kicked out. The Latang family youths immediately turned toward the voice. Meng Yao was walking past with a few other teenagers in her tow. The Latang family youths were all startled by the sight of Meng Yao. Previously, Meng Yao's cultivation level was not that outstanding in the Netherworld Academy. She could only be considered as a mid-level talent. But over the past few months, her powers had somehow shot up and she was currently at the Paragon 9th Heaven level mid-stage. She was just one step away from the Divine Lord level. Now, Meng Yao had been recommended by teacher Di Nua as a candidate for the selection trials. The Latang family youths did not like Lei Yan, but no matter how messy one's domestic affairs were, one still had to protect the name of the family in front of outsiders. However, the youths hesitated after seeing Meng Yao. Never mind, no need to clash with Meng Yao just because of Lei Yan. This girl's power has risen tremendously, so it's best not to provoke her. Those youths were no match for Meng Yao if they got into a fight. The Latang family youths kept silent. Meng Yao chuckled. Her newly enhanced powers magnified her naturally arrogant character. Although she didn't have any beef with Lei Yan before, unfortunately, Lei Yan was now a student of Yi Qing. Yi Qing had previously humiliated Meng Yao because of Mu Ziying, and Meng Yao remembered that incident very clearly. An unofficial, inferior trash of a teacher. There was no way she would let go of this grudge. Chapter 2300, Selection Trials, 3. Meng Yao saw that those Latang family youths were keeping silent, but she had no intention of letting things go. She pretended to blow on her fingernails nonchalantly. Taking the hint, one of the teenagers beside her asked, "Senior sister, how do you know that Lei Yan won't be able to stay on any longer?" It was obvious Meng Yao had been waiting for that question, and she purposely raised her voice. "Don't you know? 3 days ago, Lei Yan's teacher claimed right in front of the vice president that all his students would be selected for the inter-academy competition. Otherwise, he would allow himself to be kicked out of the academy, along with all of his students." Meng Yao's voice was loud, and the Netherworld Academy students were all Paragon level and above. They heard every single word. The surrounding students were all stunned by Meng Yao's words. All his students would be selected? Damn, what kind of teacher would make such an arrogant claim? One of the students asked in a bewildered tone. Lei Yan's teacher. I heard that he's a young teacher who just joined the academy. and he only has 6 students under him. 6? And he dares to make such a bold claim. But since he dares to do so, his students must be very talented, and he himself must also be very powerful. 6 students were not considered a lot, but claiming that every single one of them would be selected for the inter-academy competition, this level of boldness was astonishing. Many people in the academy did not know about Yi Qing's situation. Hearing his bold claim for the first time, a good number of students started discussing it fervently. Meng Yao couldn't help sniggering at those words. Very talented? Let me see which students are under him. Meng Yao swiveled her eyes and raised one hand, counting off her fingers. Lei Yan? Oh right, the useless young master of the Lei Tang family. Apart from acting cocky, his powers have not improved at all since he enrolled in the academy. The crowd was stunned at the mention of Lei Yan's name. Very talented? There was no way those words applied to Lei Yan. Jing Zhe? A poor kid from a common family. He is more or less one of the dregs of our academy, the crowd. Mu Xing? That weird little freak? Or do you mean Nangong Lai, that lazy and frivolous good-for-nothing? Or Yun Chen, who gave up halfway and had to be transferred to the medicine faculty? Meng Yao listed out the names, and the curious teenagers looked increasingly shocked with each name. In the end, complete disbelief was written all over their faces. This ragtag bunch? Very talented? What a joke. This group was the disgrace of the Netherworld Academy. Oh, I nearly forgot. There is a truly talented teenager under that teacher. But he is a fallen genius. I think his name is Qin Feng. After listing out all the names, Meng Yao closed her hand into a fist. She held a grudge against Yi Qing, and her own teacher Di Nua also hated him. It was only natural that Meng Yao would never give up any chance to humiliate Yi Qing in public. As expected, everyone was dumbstruck by Meng Yao's words. These bunch of losers wanted to enter the inter-academy competition? What kind of joke was this? Even if they were given an emperor-level teacher, one couldn't possibly cook up a grand meal without any ingredients. Chapter 2301, Selection Trials for Damn. I'm really curious now. What kind of godlike teacher has the confidence to send such students to the inter-academy competition? Don't tell me an emperor-level practitioner came to our academy to be a teacher? The teenagers continued their discussion. Someone who dared to make such a bold claim. Either he possessed out-of-this-world powers, or he was just a madman. Meng Yao was only too happy to tell everyone the truth. Emperor-level practitioner? If he was really an emperor-level practitioner, Lei Yan and his gang would be in luck. A pity that this teacher Yi is just a Paragon 6th heaven level.
What?
Paragon 6th heaven level? Are you joking? How can such a person become a teacher at the Netherworld Academy? Damn. I heard of something like this earlier. I thought it was just a baseless rumor. Didn't expect it to be true. A Paragon 6th heaven level teacher wants to send this bunch of losers to the inter-academy competition? Are you kidding me? I think he must be crazy. What does he think this inter-academy competition is? And what does he take us for? With abilities like his, if he can send Lei Yan and his gang to the inter-academy competition, I will swallow the sword in my hand. He dares to make such a bold claim? Who would believe him? The minds of the students were truly blown. Never had they seen such a crazy, shameless person before. It was fine to make arrogant statements if you had some abilities. But this fellow was a loser with equally useless students under him. Who knew how he managed to wrangle his way into the school? Seeing that she had achieved her aim, Meng Yao left with a smile. But before leaving, she didn't forget to add something. Oh yes, that teacher Yi brought his students out of the academy for over 2 months, claiming that it was for external training. As a result, he made a bet with teacher Di Nua that if he cannot send his students to the inter-academy competition, he would crawl out of the Netherworld Academy with his tail between his legs. We'll be able to enjoy a good spectacle soon. With that, Meng Yao left with her cronies in tow. Everyone was in shock. Quite a number of students pestered the Lei Tang family youths, asking if Meng Yao's words were true. The Lei Tang family youths were also bewildered. They had no idea that Yi Qing would be so crazy, making such a ridiculous bet. They didn't care if Lei Yan wanted to fool around with that useless teacher, but they were now implicated as well. We don't know anything. Go and ask Lei Yan yourselves. The youths didn't want to say too much. Just standing there made them feel antsy, and they quickly fled. On the high platform of the arena, Qin Xian was standing beside Gu Wei. He looked calm with the hint of a smile upon his lips. Qin Xian, have you made all the necessary preparations? Gu Wei looked impassively at Qin Xian. Qin Xian had finally broken through to the Divine Lord level a few days ago. His powers had surged, and this made Gu Wei feel very assured. With Qin Xian's powers, he was already one of the top talents in the Netherworld Academy. In the entire Netherworld Academy, less than 10 teenagers had reached the Divine Lord level. Master, please don't worry. I have prepared everything, Qin Xian replied respectfully. Gu Wei nodded. Few students had caught his eye over the past several years. There were only 2 whom he had been willing to take under his wing. First was Qin Feng. Gu Wei had thought very highly of Qin Feng and was prepared to groom him into Netherworld Academy's top student. But after investing so much effort, he ended up with nothing at all. Chapter 2302, Selection Trials, 5. It was fortunate that Qin Xian was not like Qin Feng. Although his innate talent was slightly inferior, he was suitable to be groomed and had now achieved good results. Faculty head Gu is too anxious. With Qin Xian's current powers, what's there to worry about? He will definitely enter the Inter-Academy competition. He doesn't even need to attend the selection trials. One of the other teachers smiled. There were only a handful of students at the Divine Lord stage. There was no need to think too much. Qin Xian would definitely be selected for the Inter-Academy competition. There wasn't even any real need for him to come today. Even if some students wished to challenge the top 50, they would never choose a genius like Qin Xian. You are too kind. It is all thanks to my master's teachings that I achieved what I have today. Master said before that a martial arts practitioner needs to remain modest and calm. By coming here and watching the battles today, I will be able to further my learning. Qin Xian spoke modestly. Gu Wei was very pleased with his student's words. The other teacher smiled. Faculty head Gu, you have gotten yourself a good disciple. Qin Xian is so willing to learn and possesses pretty good innate talent. I also hope that in the upcoming Inter-Academy competition, Qin Xian can bring glory to our Netherworld Academy. Qin Xian gave a humble smile. The teacher continued. Qin Xian, I heard that Qin Feng is under a new teacher now. Do you know much about it? Qin Xian replied, I have heard of it. The teacher sighed. It is such a pity regarding Qin Feng. He wasted your master's efforts and was unable to achieve anything. And now he is under such a wayward teacher. I heard that if Qin Feng doesn't get selected for the Inter-Academy competition, he will be kicked out of the academy. The hint of a smile flashed across Qin Xian's eyes when he heard that. The last he saw him, Qin Feng's powers had already deteriorated to the Paragon 8th Heaven level. Now, his powers had probably deteriorated even further. At his current level, there was no way he could enter the Inter-Academy competition. Qin Feng would soon be kicked out of the Netherworld Academy. From being the hope of the Qin family, he would fall to become their biggest disgrace. There's no need to talk about inconsequential people. Gu Wei spoke in a chilly voice. The teacher shut his mouth. Another smile flashed across Qin Xian's eyes. Qin Feng's existence was a thorn in Gu Wei's side. He was a blemish on Gu Wei's teaching career. It was natural that Gu Wei did not wish to hear him mentioned. Soon after, the selection trials commenced. The top 50 had already been chosen early on, and today was for students who had not been selected to step forward and challenge those 50. Many teenagers with rather good skills had already chosen their intended competitor and were ready to do battle. And nearly all of those from the top 50 who had been challenged was in the bottom 20. Few people would dare to challenge those in the top 30. As for the top 10, no one would even dare to utter their names. Intense battles filled the entire arena. Di Nua stood on the high stage, scanning the crowd. Nearly everyone was present. It had already been half a day since the trial started, but he was still waiting in vain for the person he wanted to see. Teacher Luo Sheng, has Yi Qing given up? I have yet to see him today. Di Nua looked at Luo Sheng. Luo Sheng frowned slightly. He also had no idea what Yi Qing was thinking. He had always believed that Yi Qing was just asking for trouble by making that bet. If so, why did he have to do it? Now that things had come to this stage, if he didn't make an appearance, it would be an automatic loss for him. Chapter 2303. Stepping Forward to Accept the Challenge. 1. Di Noa was not the only one waiting for Yi Qing. Having heard the news, many students were also waiting for the infamous teacher. They were extremely curious now, after knowing the backstory. When would this audacious, arrogant teacher turn up and put on a good show for them? Don't tell me that Yi Qing is too afraid to show up? If it was you, would you dare? All 6 candidates selected for the inter-academy competition. That's a joke, right? And if he loses, he would have to crawl out of the academy. If it was me, I would have fled long ago to save what little bit of face I have left. There's no way I would offer myself up for such humiliation. He can flee, but what about Qin Feng and the rest? This bet also implicates those 6 students. If he doesn't dare to show up, he would be forfeiting the bet. Qin Feng and the rest would be kicked out of the school. Let them be kicked out then, it's not like it hurts him at all. Do you think he would care about some students whom he has only known for a few months? That's right. Nothing could be more important than one's own face. Just as everyone was discussing this, several figures suddenly appeared at the entrance of the arena. The students at the outer edge were the first to notice them. They were stunned by what they saw. It was Yi Qing and his students. Many students didn't recognize most of them, but Qin Feng had been famous in the past, and few had failed to recognize him. When they saw Qin Feng standing among the group, they knew the show they had been waiting for was about to start. Qin Feng and the rest of them are here. Someone shouted out loudly, and everyone instinctively turned toward the entrance. 7 figures were standing at the entrance. Those 7 figures were of different heights and varying ages. But they all looked energetic and youthful, all dressed up in the Netherworld Academy's autumn uniform, and that was a snow-white robe with silver embroidery at the edges. Those 7 pristine white figures appeared in the crowd of students garbed in the normal black academy uniform, looking especially outstanding. Seriously? They dared to make an appearance? They're mad. The crowd grew even noisier as they watched those 7 figures. Yi Qing was at the front, leading the 6 students behind him while staring straight ahead the entire time. The crowd instinctively parted to make way for them. But their comments never ceased. Everyone's eyes were fixed upon the group, especially Yi Qing in the lead. This was the first time that many students were laying eyes on the legendary, audacious, but useless teacher. All dressed in white. Who does he think he is? This is what you call trying to put on a false front. I wonder if his clothes can remain so white when he has to crawl out of this place. The teenagers looked at Yi Qing's youthful, mediocre face and skinny frame with mocking eyes. Some were laughing, some were scoffing, some were filled with curiosity. Countless eyes landed on Yi Qing and those 6 teenagers. Despite the endless sharp, jeering stares, the 7 of them remained oblivious, as if they were able to step above all the scorn and ridicule. From the entrance, Yi Qingtang led her team to the front of the platform. Lifting her eyes, she met Di Nua's gaze on the high platform. Di Nua narrowed his eyes. Seeing Yi Qing was like seeing a lamb all ready for slaughter. From his position close by, Luo Sheng's brows furrowed slightly. At this moment, he didn't know whether he should admire Yi Qing's bravery or lament the youth's impending humiliation. Chapter 2304. Stepping Forward to Accept the Challenge. 2. Yi Qing, so you are finally here. Di Nua stepped forward and peered down imperiously at him. Yi Qingtang stood calmly in her spot, meeting Di Nua's gaze without any fear. The selection trials have started. I wonder which student will you be sending on stage first? Di Nua lifted his chin arrogantly. Yi Qingtang looked at Lei Yan and the rest. On their energetic faces, she saw the glimmer of confidence in their eyes. Which of you will challenge first? Yi Qingtang asked. The teenagers exchanged looks. It was not fear and unease which had surfaced on their faces, but rather an excited urge to step up. Why don't you go first? Nangong looked at Lei Yan. Lei Yan laughed.
No.
Why don't you go first? Or Jingzhe is also a good choice. It would be good to have him go and set the pace. The teenagers kept trying to give way to each other. In reality, they were all itching to go first. But with Yi Qing present, they had to be courteous and gracious to each other. But seeing their display, the spectators were thinking otherwise. See, Lei Yan and his friends have no confidence to go up there. They are trying to make each other go up first. I wouldn't be willing either if it was me. With those lousy abilities of theirs, which of them is capable of challenging the top 50? Going up there would just be public humiliation. The crowd shook their heads silently. They already knew the result of this farce. Di Noa grew impatient as Lei Yan and his friends continued to insist on persuading each other, and he snapped in a cold voice, Yi Qing, don't try to waste any more time. If your students don't dare to step up, it would be considered a forfeit. And, according to the terms of our bet, you will need to kick them out of the Netherworld Academy before crawling out of the main doors yourself. From then on, you will not be allowed to step inside the academy ever again. Di Noa's voice echoed throughout the entire arena, reaching every single corner. Lei Yan and the others were stunned. What bet? Boss, what's going on? Jingzhe was the first to recover his senses. He quickly asked Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang didn't expect Di Noa to publicly announce their bet. She had wanted to keep this from those brats. It's nothing. Just a minor bet. Yi Qingtang tried to gloss over it. But many nosy spectators were surrounding them. One of those bystanders called out. Jingzhe, don't you guys know? Your teacher made a bet with teacher Di Noa in front of the vice president a few days ago. If any one of you 6 fails to get selected for the Inter-Academy competition, he would personally kick you out of the Netherworld Academy before crawling out himself. The person placed special emphasis on the word crawl. The faces of Qin Feng and the rest immediately grew solemn. It was like a layer of frost was covering their faces. They stared at Yi Qing. Yi Qingtang felt a headache coming on. Damn, looks like she couldn't hide things anymore. The crowd couldn't resist smirking at the expressions of Qin Feng and his group. It was clear that Yi Qing didn't discuss this bet with them. Qin Feng and those fools would be hopping mad now that they knew their own teacher had betrayed them. There was no way they would be willing to step onto the arena now. Chapter 2305. Stepping forward to accept the challenge. 3. Boss, is what they are saying true? Qin Feng looked at Yi Qing with a frown. Knowing that the jig was up, Yi Qingtang nodded. Qin Feng took a deep breath. Nangong Lai and the others also looked very grim, while Mu Ziying was clenching her fists tightly. Yo, discovering now that you have been betrayed. So pitiful, those busybody bystanders commented provocatively. I already said it. If Qin Feng and the others knew that Yi Qing used them in a bet, they would never have come. And that teacher. He's really immoral, scornful remarks poured forth from the crowd. Those words were like icy snow brushing against the faces of Qin Feng and the others, making their expressions colder by the minute. In a rare fit of silence, Lei Yan grunted before heading straight onto the fighting platform. But before he had taken more than a few steps, Nangong Lai had dragged him down. Let me go first. Nangong Lai's usual frivolity had completely disappeared. All that remained on his face was a chilling expression. Don't fight with me this time. Let me go first. Lei Yan gritted his teeth. I am the senior brother. I should lead the way. The usually silent Jingzhe suddenly spoke up. The crowd, who had been waiting for Lei Yan and his gang to stomp off in a rage, was utterly dumbstruck. What was going on? They had been trying to push each other to go up first earlier. Why had they suddenly changed their tune? Not only that, now they were all fighting to go up the platform first? What was happening? The crowd was bewildered. Things were progressing in a completely unexpected way. Just as Lei Yan and the rest were nearly coming to blows over who got to go up first, a petite figure flew up onto the battle platform. Student Mu Ziying, I have come to make a challenge. Mu Ziying's childish voice rang out over the ears of the crowd. Lei Yan and the rest stopped scuffling to see the white-garbed Mu Ziying already standing on the platform. Everyone was stunned. Now that Mu Ziying was already on the platform, they could not substitute her with another. It would be considered a forfeit. A mocking smile flashed across Di Nua's eyes when he saw Mu Ziying. Oh, who do you want to challenge? Mu Ziying glanced past Di Nua to look at Meng Yao. As the crowd stared on, she lifted her hand and pointed at Meng Yao. I want to challenge her. Everyone was thunderstruck when Mu Ziying singled out Meng Yao. Has Mu Ziying gone mad? Does she want to challenge Meng Yao? Meng Yao is a Paragon 9th Heaven level now, just one step away from the Divine Lord stage. Is Mu Ziying trying to commit suicide? Meng Yao didn't expect Mu Ziying to challenge her. It should be pointed out that with her current powers, although she was still not in the top 10, she was comfortably ranked in the top 15. What was Mu Ziying doing? She dared to challenge her? Di Nua was not interested in who Mu Ziying chose to challenge. The only thing he wanted was to end this farce quickly and have Yiqing crawl out of the Netherworld Academy. Meng Yao, finish this as soon as possible. Don't delay, Di Nua urged Meng Yao. Yes, Meng Yao replied before flying onto the fighting platform. On the platform, two figures, one big and one small, stood facing each other. Meng Yao looked at Mu Ziying, a cold smile playing upon the corners of her lips. You're pretty lucky today. Teacher instructed me to end this quickly, so you won't need to suffer too long. Meng Yao shook out her wrists. If you need to blame someone, blame it on Yiqing. Even though he's a useless piece of trash himself, he is sending you all to your own death. Despite the provocation, Mu Ziying remained expressionless. She simply stared at Meng Yao with impassive eyes. Chapter 2306, Divine Lord Stage 1. Meng Yao hated Mu Ziying's dark, quiet expression that was filled with apathy. Raising her sword, she was instantly surrounded by a harsh, chilly glow. Everyone gasped the moment she activated her sword. Apart from those who were Divine Lord level and above, everyone could feel the suffocating pressure of that oppressive aura. A powerful existence just below that of the Divine Lord stage. She certainly lived up to her name. Mu Ziying probably wouldn't be able to withstand even this first blow. Glee flashed across Di Nua's eyes when he saw Meng Yao brandish her sword to attack. He instinctively looked at Yiqing, hoping to witness the latter's flustered expression. But Yiqing remained emotionless. He stood there, arms across his chest, as if he was watching some inconsequential competition. Di Nua frowned slightly, but he quickly understood. After all, this had always been a hopelessly one-sided match. Yiqing knew it himself. On the fighting platform, Meng Yao had been instructed to end the match quickly, so she did not show any mercy to Mu Ziying. With a vicious slash, the powerful sword aura looked as if it would slice the ground in half. But just as Meng Yao attacked, Mu Ziying suddenly lifted her head. At the same time, the surrounding air seemed to solidify. The hand which Meng Yao used to hold her sword felt like it had been gripped by a wide palm. Frozen in midair, she was unable to move her sword even half an inch, despite putting in all her energy. The spectators thought the match would end the moment Meng Yao's sword landed. No one expected Meng Yao to suddenly stop. What happened? Why did Meng Yao suddenly stop moving? The crowd was puzzled. They thought Meng Yao must be giving Mu Ziying a chance. Di Nua was further away and could not see clearly what was happening. He just saw that Meng Yao had halted and thought she must be trying to drag out the match and torture Mu Ziying slowly. He called out in a cold voice, Meng Yao, don't waste time. On the platform, Meng Yao's forehead was already drenched in a layer of cold sweat. Di Nua's reprimand entered her ears, making her expression turn even grimmer. She was not dragging out the match. She couldn't move at all. Meng Yao herself did not know what was happening. It was like she was being suppressed by an invisible force. She could not move a single inch. Looking at the immobile Meng Yao, Mu Ziying finally spoke. You insulted my teacher. I won't rest until you are punished. A powerful aura surged from Mu Ziying as she spoke. A suffocating pressure immediately enveloped the entire arena. Everyone was stunned. Meng Yao's eyes widened in disbelief. Divine Lord stage. Mu Ziying was a Divine Lord level practitioner? How could this be? Meng Yao was not the only one who was shocked. Everyone in the crowd was gaping at Mu Ziying. This is the Divine Lord level? Mu Ziying is a Divine Lord stage practitioner. Astonished cries rang out from the crowd. They could hardly believe the Divine Lord level aura they were now experiencing. Di Nua's face turned extremely grim. How is it that he had no idea Mu Ziying was so powerful? A Divine Lord level practitioner was enough to lift Mu Ziying straight up to the top 10 in the Netherworld Academy. Chapter 2307, Divine Lord Stage 2. All along, Meng Yao had been priding herself on being just below the Divine Lord stage. Now, this point of pride had turned into a big joke. Even the most powerful practitioner below the Divine Lord stage was still below that stage. And the Mu Ziying standing before her was a true blue Divine Lord level. Meng Yao was just one step below, but the disparity was massive. Before the crowd could recover from their shock, Mu Ziying reached out one palm. The movement looked light and gentle, but the force created crushed Meng Yao's sword into a ball of scrap metal. The palm then made direct contact with Meng Yao's chest. Oof! Meng Yao was defenseless against the suppressive aura of a Divine Lord level practitioner. Struck by that palm, she flew out of the battle platform and landed heavily beneath the high stage. Fresh blood spurted out of her mouth. Everything happened too fast, and too suddenly. No one was able to react. Mu Ziying looked impassionately at Meng Yao on the ground below, who was still vomiting blood. She turned and surveyed the crowd with malevolent eyes. If I hear anyone talk bad about our boss again, they will meet the same fate as her. Mu Ziying's voice was as cold as ice. That malevolent gaze made everyone shudder in fear. Who else would dare say anything more about Yi Qing after this spectacle? At this moment, the hearts of everyone were filled with doubt. Who could tell them when Mu Ziying had broken through to the Divine Lord stage? Surely it wasn't too long ago when she was just a pitiful little kid who was helplessly bullied by Meng Yao. After Mu Ziying issued her warning, she walked off the platform and stood beside Yi Qing. As everyone watched on, she threw herself into Yi Qing's arms with a cry. "Boss, you have suffered so much." Mu Ziying sobbed wretchedly. She never imagined that Yi Qing had been forced to undertake such a bet. Unless forced to a corner, who would risk their dignity in a bet? Was it really that important if they were kicked out of the academy? Without Yi Qing, they would have been kicked out long ago. Mu Ziying could bear any kind of hardship or scorn, but she would never allow anyone to disparage Yi Qing in front of her. This was her heart's most precious, most respected boss. No one could make boss suffer. Not even a god. Yi Qingtang looked at the sobbing Mu Ziying, who had been a mighty and intimidating figure on the platform just moments before. She didn't know whether to laugh or to cry. Mu Ziying's tears soaked through her shirt. The warmth moist seemed to seep into Yi Qingtang's heart. By the side, Lei Yan, Nangong Lai, and the rest also felt a tugging at their heartstrings as they watched Mu Ziying's sobbing back profile. When they heard of that bet, an unprecedented sense of rage and heartache had risen in them. It was because they had been useless. That was why boss had been doubted. Lei Yan took a deep breath. Then he leaped onto the battle platform. "Student Lei Yan, I am here to declare a challenge." They would protect their boss. The crowd had yet to recover from the shock of Mu Ziying's performance when they saw Lei Yan standing fiercely on the platform. That fearsome, murderous aura was completely unlike the Lei Yan they used to know. "Who do you want to challenge?" Lei Yan said in a low voice. "Hang one way." Everyone was stunned. Madness, pure madness. Lei Yan was challenging the student ranked number 10 in the Netherworld Academy. Chapter 2308, Divine Lord Stage 3. The people from the Latang family nearly went crazy. They felt a desperate urge to rush up and drag that insane Lei Yan off the platform. Did their young master know his place at all? Could he please come down now and not cause such an embarrassment to the Latang family? As Hang Wenwei was not present, the teachers sent someone to get him. He was confused as he thought that no one would ever challenge someone from the top 10. But in the end, there was really someone who was that audacious. Hang Wenwei was curious to see who was so gutsy. When he ascended the platform, he saw Lei Yan's. Hang Wenwei was bewildered. Unbelievable. That useless Lei Yan wanted to challenge him? Don't waste time talking. Make your move. Lei Yan had a gut full of rage suppressed inside him. He wanted to use his powers to prove to everyone that their boss was better than any one of the other teachers. And he was the best example. Before Hang Wenwei could figure out what was happening, Lei Yan unleashed his aura, and that Divine Lord level energy engulfed the entire arena. The crowd. What the hell? Unbelievable. Lei Yan was at the Divine Lord stage. The Latang family teenagers were completely dumbstruck. Seeing Lei Yan covered in his Divine Lord level aura was like seeing a strange monster. Was this the Lei Yan whom they knew? Could someone else be impersonating him? Hang Wenwei. Who could tell him if this person before was for real or a fake? Was the Latang family going to such extremes to protect Lei Yan that they sent someone to impersonate him? Lei Yan wanted to show everyone the results of Yi Qing's teaching, and he immediately struck out at Hang Wenwei. Rank number 10, Hang Wenwei had just managed to brush against the Divine Lord level. He was not officially at that stage yet. Faced with an aggressive guy like Lei Yan, who was also a proper Divine Lord stage practitioner, Hang Wenwei was utterly defeated within 3 moves. I concede. Hang Wenwei was staring at Lei Yan with red-rimmed eyes. How was this a competition? It was a death match. Those who were not in the know might have thought there was some deep-seated grudge between them. Hang Wenwei's surrender meant that Lei Yan had won. Lei Yan stood on the battle platform, glaring fiercely at the crowd. Boss Yi Qing personally groomed me to where I am now. Any one of you who feels indignant about that, please come up here. I will beat you until you no longer feel any indignance. The crowd. How terrifying. When did he become a Divine Lord level? Even if he had consumed some miracle elixir, he could not have possibly progressed so fast. First there was Mu Ziying and now Lei Yan as well. They were both Divine Lord stage practitioners. Just what was going on? Everyone immediately turned to look at Yi Qing, who was standing beneath the platform. At this moment, they were looking at him with completely flabbergasted expressions. What was this teacher's background? To be able to produce 2 Divine Lord stage practitioners in just a few months? And with students who had notoriously terrible foundations, was this teacher some kind of god? On the high stage, Di Nuo's face was grim to the extreme. He never dreamed that Mu Ziying and Lei Yan had ascended to the Divine Lord stage. This was one big joke. One teacher who was able to produce 2 Divine Lord level students? This was simply not what ordinary people dared to even dream of. Even the arrogant Di Nuo had only managed to produce 1 Divine Lord level student so far. And that student was naturally gifted. He was already at a very high cultivation level when he first entered the school. It was completely unlike Mu Ziying and Lei Yan, who had been nearly kicked out of the academy for being too lousy. Chapter 2309. Come up for a beating 1. Luo Sheng was standing beside Di Nuo. He was also dumbstruck. At present, no one expected Lei Yan and Mu Ziying to have suddenly become Divine Lord level practitioners. How on earth did Yi Qing do it? Countless questions surged in Luo Sheng's mind. With a sudden shudder, as if he realized something, he flew off the high stage. When she was not yet at the arena. Perhaps he already predicted Yi Qing's defeat and couldn't bear to come and watch the depressing scene. But now, Luo Sheng only had one thought on his mind. He had to tell Wen Qi everything that had just happened. No matter what kind of performance the rest of his students put up, just the fact that he managed to improve the cultivation levels of 2 mediocre students to the Divine Lord stage was a miracle. No, it was more than a miracle. They could never let a person like her leave the Netherworld Academy. Otherwise, it would be a great loss to the school. Luo Xing couldn't deny that he was both happy and worried for Yiqing. Although Lei Yan and Mu Ziying's performances astonished everyone, there was still that bet between Yiqing and Dinua. As long as one of his students failed to get selected for the inter-academy competition, he would have to leave the Netherworld Academy. Luo Xing would never stand by and let this happen. He had to get Wen Qi to come over as soon as possible. Everyone at present had been dazed by the first 2 matches. No one noticed Luo Xing's departure. The students undergoing their own matches on the other platforms had also stopped. Their attention was already drawn over to the amazed cries. At this point, everyone was focused on Yiqing and his students. What's happening? Those 2 are Divine Lord level. How come I have no impression of them at all? The teenagers looked doubtfully at Lei Yan and Mu Ziying, who were standing behind Yiqing. The aura exuded by the 2 of them had been suffocating. It was the power of a Divine Lord stage practitioner. Mu Ziying kept a very low profile in the academy, and few people even knew of her existence. As for Lei Yan, he was a big bully, but he mostly provoked those lower-level students. He kept a safe distance from anyone with a certain level of skill. Those who could stand on the battle platform today were all the elite of the Netherworld Academy. They were focused on their cultivation, and with tens of thousands of students in the school, they wouldn't pay any attention to those 2 nobodies. Even after that earlier bullying incident instigated by Meng Yao, there were still some students who had no idea what had happened. But 2 Divine Lord level students had appeared out of nowhere. This was not something that anyone could overlook. It should be pointed out that there were only a handful of powerful freaks in the Netherworld Academy who were at the Divine Lord level. Everyone was well aware of that. Upon the high stage, Dinua looked very grim. Taking a deep breath, he suppressed the panic in his heart. It's only 2 students. Yiqing, who's next? Dinua did not believe that Yiqing could continue his lucky streak. 2 Divine Lord level students were already the limit. Dinua had no idea how Yiqing did it, but he would never believe that the rest of the ladder students would be as powerful. As long as just one of them failed, Yiqing would have to carry out the terms of the bet, and he would definitely be the one to lose. Chapter 23:10. Come up for a beating. 2. Before Yiqing Tang could say anything, Nangong Lai leaped up onto the platform. Student Nangong Lai. I have come to challenge Gong Jinyun. Everyone at present gasped again. Things were escalating. Really escalating. Lei Yan had just challenged the number 10 student, and Nangong Lai was now challenging the one ranked number 9? Lei Yan cursed under his breath after hearing Nangong Lai's challenge. Damn, that fellow is so despicable. Because of the bet, and because he was still getting used to his new cultivation level, Lei Yan didn't dare to challenge someone too highly ranked. But after sparring with Hang Wenwei, Lei Yan realized just how much more powerful he was. Nangong Lai naturally also noticed this. This was why he purposely chose someone just one rank higher. Lei Yan was hopping mad at Nangong Lai's move. Just like Hang Wenwei, Gong Jinyun was not at the arena either. After being summoned, he was just as confused as Hang Wenwei had been. But as he passed by Hang Wenwei, he saw that Hang Wenwei's eyes were full of conflict. Gong Jinyun was even more mystified at this. Good luck. Hang Wenwei patted Gong Jinyun on the shoulder in a meaningful manner. Gong Jinyun. What the hell? Good luck? When Gong Jinyun stood facing Nangong Lai, he didn't show much of a reaction. After all, at least Lei Yan was the young master of a major family clan. The frivolous Nangong Lai was a complete nobody. Please go ahead. Gong Jinyun was perplexed, but he compliantly accepted the challenge. Nangong Lai was all smiles as he cupped his fist politely. Just as Gong Jinyun was musing over why this teenager, whom he had never met before, would dare to challenge him, Nangong Lai charged forward and unleashed his aura. The Divine Lord's stage aura enveloped the entire arena. Gong Jingyun. What the hell? Where did this fellow come from? The appearance of a third Divine Lord level practitioner sent the already shocked crowd straight into a stupefied daze. Gong Jingyun never expected Nangong Lai to be a Divine Lord stage practitioner. Before he could react, he was struck off the platform by Nangong Lai in just 3 moves. The entire process was so fast that Gong Jingyun failed to react and was as dumb and stiff as a wooden chicken. Brother, I understand how you feel. It's fate. Hang Wenwei, who had just experienced a similar outcome, patted Gong Jingyun on the shoulder. Thankfully, he was not the only one who lost face today. Nangong Lai turned and raised a provocative brow at Dinua. He then leaped off the platform and used his Divine Lord energy to amplify his voice. Everyone listen up and listen well. All those who insulted my boss previously, I will remember you. Nangong Lai surveyed the crowd. The threat in his eyes was clear. Having been warned by 3 consecutive Divine Lord level practitioners, those busybody student spectators shivered in fear. At this point, they felt an angry urge to beat up Meng Yao for spreading such baseless rumors. Didn't she say they were a bunch of useless fools? How were they useless? They were a bunch of killing machines. The crowd had yet to recover from Nangong Lai's threat when a figure dashed up onto the platform. Student Jing Zhe, I have come to challenge. Jing Zhe chose the student rank number 8. By now, the crowd was already numb from the repeated shock.
Ha! Well.
3 Divine Lord level practitioners? Even if this Jing Zhe was also at the Divine Lord stage, they would no longer be surprised. It's just the Divine Lord stage. A bunch of lunatics. Chapter 2311. Come up for a beating 3. Whatever Hang Wenwei and Gong Jingyun experienced happened once again. The number 8 student was defeated, and the crowd sank into a stupefied daze. Who was he? Where did he come from? Once might be an accident, twice a coincidence. But what did 3 and 4 times mean? All of a sudden, 4 Divine Lord level students were standing beside Yi Qing. Only Yun Chun from the medicine faculty and Qin Feng were left. As the medicine faculty selection trials would only begin tomorrow, Yun Chun didn't need to go on stage today. At this point, everyone was looking at Qin Feng. After experiencing wave after wave of shock, no one dared to try and predict Qin Feng's powers now. Just as Qin Feng was about to ascend the platform, Yi Qing suddenly called out to him. There's something I have been meaning to give to you. Now is the perfect time. Yi Qingtang smiled before taking out a sharp sword from her space ring. The moment the sword emerged, a look of disbelief spread across Qin Feng's calm face. Qin Feng had seen this sword countless times in the Qin family's weaponry records. This was a divine weapon that was the Qin family's legacy heirloom. It had once belonged to that elite practitioner in the Qin family. It was that practitioner's companion as he brought the Qin family to their peak. The Sword of Destruction was the companion sword to the Sword of Destruction deity Qinzhua. Since Qinzhua had gone missing, the Sword of Destruction had also disappeared. Over the years, the Qin family had invested much effort but failed to find it. Qin Feng thought that he would never get the chance to see the Sword of Destruction in person. But now, this divine weapon had appeared before him. Boss! Qin Feng looked at Yi Qing in amazement. This belongs to the Qin family. Some time ago, someone asked me to pass this to the descendants of the Qin family. Now, I am returning this sword to its rightful owner. With that, Yi Qingtang placed the Sword of Destruction in Qin Feng's hands. Qin Feng looked at the Sword of Destruction with a very agitated expression. He seemed to want to say something to Yi Qing, but his teacher shook his head at him. I will tell you everything after the selection trials. Qin Feng nodded solemnly. On the high stage, Qin Xian was standing beside Gu Wei. The previous few matches had far surpassed Qin Xian's expectations, but the only person who he truly cared about was Qin Feng. That was why his eyes never left Qin Feng. When he saw Yi Qing place a sword in Qin Feng's hands, a crack finally appeared on Qin Xian's calm facade. His eyes widened as he instinctively took a step forward, trying to see if the sword in Qin Feng's hands was what he thought it was. Qin Xian. Gu Wei suddenly spoke up. Qin Xian snapped out of his trance. Master. Qin Xian realized he had overstepped. Qin Feng was just a challenger, and he had not yet announced who he wanted to challenge. There was no need for him to react in any way. Any kind of reaction now would cramp his style. Who do you think Qin Feng will challenge? Gu Wei asked. Qin Xian replied without even the need to think. Brother Feng will probably challenge me. Gu Wei remained silent. Qin Xian hesitated before continuing. Brother Feng has always been jealous of me because you took me under your wing. Brother Feng's powers have deteriorated and his temperament has also changed as a result. But since we are both from the same family clan, I don't wish to make Brother Feng look bad. Master, should I go down and try to dissuade him? Chapter 23:12. Masochist 1. Gu Wei frowned slightly. Qin Feng knows very well why that happened. If he is that upset, it shows there's something wrong with his character. With such a petty mind, it is difficult for him to achieve anything. Lowering his gaze, Qin Xian hid the smile flashing across his eyes and maintained his humble expression. Even so, he is still part of the Qin family. Gu Wei sighed but couldn't deny that he was pleased by Qin Xian's kind intentions. Never mind. Go if you wish to. It will be a good thing if he can come to his senses. Having received Gu Wei's permission, Qin Xian's eyes brightened. By that stage, Qin Feng had already stepped onto the platform. He had just announced that he was a challenger, but before he could state his target, a figure flew down from the high stage. Brother Feng. Qin Xian stood on the battle platform and gazed meaningfully at Qin Feng. Taking this opportunity, he secretly glanced at the sword in Qin Feng's hand. From this close distance, he had a clear look at that sword. Qin Xian's heart gave a jolt. The Sword of Destruction? Was it really the Sword of Destruction? Impossible. The Sword of Destruction had disappeared together with the Sword of Destruction deity Qin Zhua. The Qin family had spent so much effort looking for it, but could not locate it. He had seen Yi Qing hand this sword to Qin Feng. How did the Sword of Destruction end up in the hands of such a weak outsider? The more he thought about it, the more Qin Xian found it very strange. He had come onto the platform to trample Qin Feng into the mud, as well as show off to Gu Wei the skill disparity between the two of them. In addition, he also wanted to take a look at the sword to see if it was the real Sword of Destruction. As much as this sword looked like the Sword of Destruction, Qin Xian refused to believe it was the real one. He believed that it was his anxiety which made this sword look like the real one. Brother Feng, please stop. Qin Xian looked up with a fake congenial smile. Qin Feng remained expressionless as he gazed at Qin Xian. Brother Feng, I know that you feel very aggrieved that your powers have deteriorated, but one cannot force one's way in the practice of martial arts. Moreover, if you are defeated here right in front of everyone, it will tarnish the reputation of the Qin family. Qin Xian sighed. Below the platform, Lei Yan and the others were waiting eagerly to watch Qin Feng sweep the floor with his opponent, who expected that before Qin Feng could announce his target, Qin Xian had appeared on his own accord. What is Qin Xian doing? Did Qin Feng call out his name? He turned up on his own accord. What does this have to do with him? Lei Yan frowned. Due to an earlier incident, they were already at odds with Qin Xian. They knew Qin Xian's true face and would never believe that he was trying to dissuade Qin Feng for his own good. Qin Xian looking out for Qin Feng? Unless pigs could fly. The corners of the lips of Nangong Lai and the rest also twitched. They also had very little regard for the pompous Qin Xian. Tarnish the reputation of the Qin family? Is he dreaming? Nangong Lai was incensed and felt like charging up there to spread his eyelids wide and show everyone clearly just how deplorable Qin Feng's true powers were. This was a Divine Lord First Heaven Peak level practitioner. He could easily defeat 3 of them at once. Qin Xian had just ascended the Divine Lord stage, and he was at most at the same level as the rest of them. A guy like him dared to make such a grand gesture in front of Qin Feng? Was he looking to die? As he stood on the platform with a benign expression, Qin Xian had no idea what Lei Yan and the rest were thinking. After ascending to a certain high cultivation stage, unless they actively revealed their level, they could purposely conceal their true powers. This was why no one had realized the true cultivation levels of Lei Yan and the rest when they first returned to the academy. Chapter 23:13 Masochist 2. One should always look at another with renewed eyes even after a short absence. Qin Xian clearly did not understand this concept. He still believed that Qin Feng's powers were deteriorating and had probably already declined to pitiful levels. Brother Feng, both of us are from the Qin family. Today's situation is only because of a bet made by Yi Qing. Although he is your teacher, you were not under his guidance for long. I am well aware of your situation. You don't need to force yourself because of someone like that. Qin Xian continued to behave as if he was doing this for Qin Feng's own good. Moreover, Yi Qing selfishly dragged you guys down with him. He never considered your wishes. Even though Lei Yan and the others have improved, your powers have been deteriorating. Brother Feng, you are the one who will end up on the losing end. Qin Feng sighed as he spoke. Poor Brother Feng, it is your misfortune to have met such an inferior and despicable teacher. On the surface, he appeared to be dissuading Qin Feng, but every single word was a quiet poke at the fact that Qin Feng did not know his place. He was also accusing Yi Qing of shamelessly dragging his students down into the mud with him just because of his bet. Qin Feng had once been famous in the Netherworld Academy. So many students knew of Qin Feng's situation. While it was unbelievable that the powers of Lei Yan and the other three had suddenly surged, Qin Feng was another matter. This was a teenager who had once nearly become the top student in the Netherworld Academy. Qin Feng, for whatever reason, his powers had kept deteriorating to the point that even Gu Wei could not help him. The faces of Lei Yan and the rest darkened after hearing Qin Xian insult Yi Qing. If not for Qin Feng, they might have already charged onto the platform to beat up Qin Xian. Qin Feng stared coldly at Qin Xian. He stared at this teenager who used to hover around him with eyes full of respect and admiration. This teenager had now morphed into an arrogant guy who only knew how to sneer at others. Originally, Qin Feng had not planned to waste time on Qin Xian. He was already used to Qin Xian's ridicule. But when he heard Qin Xian disparage Yi Qing, a harsh light surfaced in his cold eyes. Apologize. Qin Feng spat out a single icy word. Qin Xian was taken aback. Apologize? Apologize for what? Apologize to Teacher Yi? Qin Feng's voice was so cold it could have cut through ice. Qin Xian looked at Qin Feng. He gave a sudden bark of laughter. Brother Feng, what kind of potion did this Yi Qing give you? You are so protective of a person who only taught you for a few months? My master poured so much effort into you, but you are not grateful at all. And now you want me to apologize to such a useless teacher? Qin Xian chuckled. All right, if you want me to apologize, you must defeat me first. If you can, I will go down on my knees and bow in apology to Yi Qing. If you lose, you cannot do any more things that will tarnish the name of our Qin family. In the beginning, Qin Feng had not planned to challenge Qin Xian, but the moment Qin Xian uttered those words, Qin Feng raised a sword, clearly indicating that he was accepting Qin Xian's terms. The smile in Qin Xian's eyes deepened. Brother Feng, rather than allowing you to be defeated by an outsider, it is better for me, as part of the Qin family, to send you off this platform. As a member of the Qin family, I am willing to do this favor. Below the platform, the spectators were watching with keen interest as the selection trial gradually transformed into an intense family conflict. Chapter 23:14 Masochist 3. Qin Feng had a glorious past and also suffered much hardship after his decline. Actually, Qin Xian's innate talent was also not that far below Qin Feng's. It was only because Qin Feng had been too powerful that Qin Xian was overshadowed. Now that these two were facing off each other, it would definitely be a spectacular show. But quite a number of people believed that Qin Feng was too rash. Even if he wanted to protect Yi Qing, he should also know his place. The Qin family only needs one genius. Qin Xian narrowed his eyes at Qin Feng. Qin Feng, make your move. Qin Feng looked at Qin Xian. He suddenly put down the sword of destruction and strapped it by his waist. The crowd was stunned by Qin Feng's move.
What?
The match has yet to start, and Qin Feng is already backing off. What else can he do? Fight Qin Xian? Qin Xian is ranked number 5. He is already at the Divine Lord stage, and far more powerful than those ranked behind him. And he is being personally mentored by Gu Wei. Just give him a few more months, and he'll probably rise to the top 3. The crowd had a heated discussion. They all had their own predictions about the outcome of this match. Qin Xian looked at Qin Feng's sword. He couldn't help frowning slightly. Brother Feng, are you admitting defeat? Qin Feng looked impassively at Qin Xian.
No.
Qin Xian raised his brows. You are not worthy. The expression on Qin Xian's face twisted into one of rage. Not worthy. That was just a fake sword of destruction. How dare this trash say that he was not worthy? Qin Xian was so incensed that he ended up chuckling to himself. It would not be long before he would be able to pound Qin Feng straight into the ground, right in front of everyone. Reaching out, Qin Xian released an all-encompassing aura to cover the entire arena. That Divine Lord level aura was suffocating. Everyone couldn't resist gasping when they saw Qin Xian's aura. Lei Yan and the others were the only ones who maintained their composure. The corners of their lips curled up slightly as they watched Qin Xian. It was just a clown prancing around. Gu Wei stood on the high stage, observing Qin Xian's display. A look of satisfaction surfaced in his eyes. He then glanced at the immobile Qin Feng before shaking his head in disappointment. Just as everyone believed that this match would end very soon, Qin Feng made his move. Looking at Qin Xian, who was charging at him with a raised fist, Qin Feng slowly lifted his left hand. Right at the moment his fist was about to strike his chest, Qin Feng gripped that fist. Qin Xian came to a complete standstill. The hand gripping his fist was like an enhanced iron cage that had undergone tens of thousands of years of forging. It completely stopped his attack, and he found it impossible to move. What was going on? Taken aback, Qin Xian snapped his eyes towards Qin Feng. As Qin Feng slowly lifted his eyes, there was no emotion at all in those frosty eyes. With a slight narrowing of those eyes, a surging aura suddenly erupted from Qin Feng's body. Qin Feng tightened his grip. Crack! The sound of bones shattering echoed throughout the entire arena. Intense pain shot throughout Qin Xian's fist. Before he could let out a cry, Qin Feng had already lifted his leg and kicked him viciously in the stomach. Qin Xian flew across the air, fresh blood spurting out of his mouth. He landed heavily on the side of the platform, just half an inch away from falling off. Even so, he was feeling so much pain that it felt like his entire body was breaking apart. Qin Feng's kick had nearly crushed all his internal organs. How is this possible? Chapter 23:15 Masochist 4. A shadow approached Qin Xian, who instinctively looked up. When he did, he saw Qin Feng standing over him. Qin Feng had his back to the sun, and his cold features were encased in shadows, masking his expression. He looked like he was surrounded by a golden halo, and was exuding an aura which made Qin Xian's scalp turn numb. This was Divine Lord stage? How is that possible? How did Qin Feng reach the Divine Lord stage? A deadly silence descended across the entire arena. Everyone's eyes were focused on Qin Feng's tall, strapping figure. In one section of the audience, surprise surfaced on Gu Wei's face. He took a step forward as his gaze remained fixed upon Qin Feng. That aura. It could only be the Divine Lord stage. No one expected this teenager, who had fallen from his high pedestal over the past several years, to climb back up to the peak again, right in front of everyone. Are you kidding me? Qin Feng is at the Divine Lord level? Divine Lord level? That's not all. Did you see how Qin Xian could not even sit up after that kick? Qin Xian is also a Divine Lord level, but he was unable to defend himself at all against Qin Feng. This means that Qin Feng is at least at the Divine Lord First Heaven Peak stage? Everyone gasped at this surmisation. Both were at the Divine Lord First Heaven stage, but the disparity between the early and the peak levels was extremely wide. It could be said that to a Divine Lord First Heaven Peak level practitioner, those at the early stage were nothing to him. Lei Yan and the others gave a knowing smile at the scene. Meanwhile, Heng Wenwei and Gong Jinyun subconsciously swallowed hard when they saw Qin Feng's true powers. Thank the heavens that Qin Feng wasn't their opponent. Otherwise, wouldn't they be paralyzed by that one kick? Earlier, they had felt so ashamed at being defeated by Lei Yan and the others. But now, they were filled with relief. They could still walk off the platform on their own after being beaten by a First Heaven early stage practitioner. If it had been a peak stage, they would have to be carried off. At this moment, Heng Wenwei and the others were gazing at Qin Xian with sympathetic eyes. It was all right for them. After all, they had been challenged and had not volunteered to fight. It was not that humiliating to have lost. But for Qin Xian, he had offered himself up for the thrashing. Qin Feng had no intention of challenging him, but Qin Xian had bustled up himself and even insulted Qin Feng's beloved boss. They had seen people with a death wish before, but none as foolhardy as this teenager. Qin Xian remained kneeling on the platform. He wanted to stand up, but was immobilized from the excruciating pain. He lifted his head and looked at Qin Feng, who was standing before him. At this moment, it was like they had returned to years ago, when he could only gaze up at Qin Feng's tall, proud figure with admiration and jealousy. I am possible. How could I? I have lost to you. Qin Xian gritted his teeth. In his current state, he didn't even have the strength to stand up. It was clear who won and who had lost. You have lost. Qin Feng spoke coldly as he peered down imperiously at the pathetic-looking Qin Xian. Qin Xian was like a possessed man. I will not lose, Before Qin Xian could complete his sentence, Qin Feng reached out and grabbed him by the head. Qin Xian was stunned. In the next second, Qin Feng lifted Qin Xian's whole body off the ground. In front of everyone, he carried Qin Xian by the head over to the side of the platform where Yi Qing was standing below. You're tuning in to the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.